that I got. Pardon me for saying I don't like saying I don't like hearing people say when they're talking, but I don't know where that came from. But anyway, there, I did it again, right? So I want to go to Jubilees, the book of Jubilees, right? And this is called Yuhalim. Okay, this is how it's written. Okay, YOVHELIYM. I want to show you. I'm not going to read the whole thing because this is not a verse by verse reading of the book of Jubilees. Right? There are many people that don't believe in the book of Jubilees. The book of Jubilees is a made-up book. It wasn't an original canon. Blah, 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 blase, blase, blase. Okay, all right. You don't believe in it, doesn't make it not be authentic. Okay? I believe it's authentic because when I read it, it actually helps. It brings clarity to a lot of things that's in the known King James Version that people need to read and see to get the clarity, right? To get the understanding. All right. So let me just kind of read just a little intro so you can see what it's all about. It says, and it came to pass, this is a Jubilees, a Yuvalim, chapter 1, verse 1. It came to pass in the first year of the exodus of the children of Yasharal out of Mizraim. Now, it's interesting he put Yasharal there. I remember years ago when the Most High gave me that name for instead of saying Israel, saying Yasharal, and people looked at me and laughed and sniggled and grickled. But now I see a lot of people using it, right? Am I taking credit for being the first one to use that word Yasharal? Probably I should, but no, I'm not taking credit. But anyway, the children of Yasharal out of Mizraim in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, that Elohim spoke to Moshe, saying, "Come up to me on the mount, and I will give you 2 sapphire stones of the Torah and of the commandment which I have written, that you may teach them." And Moshe went up to Mount Elohim, and the esteem of Yahuwah abode on the Mount Sinai. Now he has glory, so I put esteem there. Okay, that's a little something that I might have put in, but he put glory. Okay, fine. Some people, I don't get off into the names because there's a lot of names in English that are actually reference to deities, and I think glory is one of them. But anyway, be that as it may, the esteem of Yahweh abode on Mount Sinai, and a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moshe on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud, and appeared, and the appearance of his esteem of Yahweh was like a flaming fire on the top of the mount, right? So that was the kabod. Okay, if we want to actually be accurate and correct, let's just use the word kabod, because kabod means the manifestation of the nature of the Most High, right? So that kabod, and that just happened to be my last name, kabod. But anyway, so verse 5. Moshe went on the mount 40 days, 40 nights, and Elohim taught him the earlier and the later history of the divisions of all the days of Torah and of the testimony, right? And he said, "Incline your heart to every word which I shall speak to you on this mount, and write them in a sefer," right? "In order that their generations may see how I have not forsaken them for all the evil which they have wrought in transgressing the covenant which I established between me and you for their generations this day on Mount Sinai," right? "And thus it will come to pass when all these things will come upon them, that they will recognize that I am more righteous than they in all their judgments and in all their actions, and they will recognize that I have been truly with them. And do you write for yourself all these words which I declared unto you this day, for I know their rebellion and their stiff neck, before I bring them into the land of which I swore to their fathers, unto Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey, and they will eat and be satisfied, and will turn to strange deities," right? To deities which cannot deliver them from aught of their tribulation. Now, I inserted deity there, okay, right? That's Hebrew Israelite 101. We use deity and not Elohim when it's making reference to false deities, or quote unquote the gods of the nations, right? We use deities. Okay, that's just a Hebrew Israelite 101 thing we do. Okay. Unto your seed will I give land flowing with milk and honey, and they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange deities, to deities which cannot deliver them from any of their tribulations. And this witness shall be heard for a witness against them, for they will forget all my commandments, right? Even all that I have commanded them, and they will walk after other nations, right? Now, I do believe that there says Gentiles. They'll walk after the Gentiles. Okay, they walk after the Gentiles and after their uncleanness and after their shame, and will serve their deities, and these will prove unto them as an offense and a tribulation and an affliction and a snare. And many will perish, and they will be taken captive and will fall into their hands of the enemies, because they have forsaken my ordinances and my commandments, and the feast of my covenant, and my Shabbat, and my set apart place which I have set apart for myself in their midst, and my tabernacle and my sanctuary which I have set apart for myself in the midst of the land, that I should set my name upon it, and that it should dwell there. And they will make to themselves high places for Asherah poles and graven images, and they will worship earth his own graven images, so as to go astray. And they will sacrifice their children to devils and to all the works of the error of their hearts. And I will send witnesses unto them, right? And that I may witness against them, but they will not hear, and will slay the witnesses. Also, they will persecute those who seek the Torah, and they will abrogate and change everything, so as to work evil before my eyes. And I will hide my face from them, and I will deliver them into the hand of other nations for captivity, and for prey, and for devouring, and I will remove them from the midst of the land, and I will scatter them amongst the other nations. Okay. Now, I do believe, see, when you take that nations out, take the Gentiles out and put nations there, it changes the whole thought process of the thing, right? Okay, so that's the reason why I believe that that word Gentile should stay there, right, where it belongs. Okay, and they will forget all my Torah and all my commandments and all my judgments, and will go astray as to new moons, right, and Shabbats and feasts and jubilees and ordinances. Okay, and after this they will turn to me from amongst the other nations with all their heart and with all their soul and with all their strength, and I will gather them from among the other nations, and they will seek me, so that I shall be found of them when they seek me with all their heart and with all their soul, right? And I will disclose to them abounding peace and righteousness, and I will remove them the plant of uprightness with my heart and with all my soul. And they shall be for a blessing and not for a curse, and they shall be the head and not the tail. And I will build my sanctuary in their midst, and I will tabernacle with them. I will dwell with them, is what it says, I believe. But here it says tabernacle. And I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people in truth and righteousness. And I will not forsake them, nor fail them, for I am Yahweh Eloheinu. Okay. For some reason, my eyes is tearing up. And it's burning. So it could be the sun. I don't know. I think it is. I have my rays on. I've been having problems with my eyes here. So I have on Eagle Visions. It could be the sun that's affecting my eyes. But anyway, what I want to add is a couple thoughts I had here. Okay, so first I want to say is that Israel, the Most High knew Israel was going to go into captivity before they went into captivity. That's the reason why he chose Israel, because he knew that he could count on Israel to be the people that would enable his word that he prophesied to Abraham to come to pass, because he needed the people to go into a land to disobey so that he could fulfill the prophecy that he made to Abraham, that he would make Abraham the father of many nations, right? So now the other thing I want to point out is this. Some would say, well, brother, you know, I heard you going off about this Gentile nations thing. No. Okay, all right. So, well, how do you know when to put Gentiles and not nations there? Okay, it's quite simple. It's called reading and comprehension, right? You look at what's being said, right? And when you see what's being said, even the translator was smart enough that they knew when to put Gentiles in there and when not to put Gentiles in there and put nations in there. So you don't have to have spiritual telepathy to do that. It's called simply reading and comprehension. So when you read and comprehend the text, you know when he's talking about the sons of Japheth versus when he's talking about other nations. Okay, so for example, Israel is scattered amongst not only the Gentiles but amongst other nations. Okay, some Israelites are still in Africa today amongst the lands of Ham. They have blended in with those tribes, and our DNA is mixed with some of them. So we're scattered amongst places like India and China and South America, Australia, etc. So that's how you look at it. You don't have to get a spiritual ecstasy to know when to put Gentiles and nations back in the proper perspective, like the translators put in there in the first place, right? So that answers that question. So I won't have to deal with somebody sending me a stupid comment, okay? Because that's what it is, stupidity. I don't deal with stupidity. I've gotten a little older now, so I don't have tolerance for stupidity. If I think you're being stupid and you're purposely trying to be smart, I'm just going to block you. I'm not even going to respond to you. Just going to block you and delete the comment. Just that simple. When I was younger, I might go toe to toe, back to back with you and go back and forth with you over something, but I'm not going to do that no more, because I'm beyond that in my age now. So if you want to stay in stupid, you want to stay stuck in stupid, then stay stuck in stupid. And I don't have time for it. If you're sincere and honest and you come in the right way, I'll dialogue with you. But if you're coming at me with the wrong spirit, with the intent, with the wicked intentions, I'm not even going to even address you, right? Okay, now, so there we see that was prophesied. The Most High knew that Israel was going to disobey him and go in, and because of that, that Israel would go into captivity. And that's what happened. Israel went into captivity, right? Let's continue. This is verse 20. This is still the first chapter of Jubilees, verse 20. And Moshe fell on his face and prayed and said, "Oh Yahweh Elohim, do not forsake your people and your inheritance, so that they should wander in the error of their hearts." See, that's the thing. A lot of Israelites that are into their religious view. I'm not going to just pick on the Christians, because Israelites are into all kinds of religiosity, right? Their heart is, they're passionately involved, and they passionately believe in what they believe, so they can't see it. So, but the Most High, the prophet Moshe said here, he said, "Forsake not your people with your inheritance, so that they should wander in error of their hearts." See, that's why you got to be careful what you're feeling, right? You know, I was a Christian, so, a lot of things we do based on how we feel and not what it says in the written word. And so a lot of times we have a stronghold built up in us based off of that emotion that we got from that church doctrine of belief. And it's hard to let it go, because once something becomes a part of your being, it's hard for you to let it go. And that's what he's saying here. Father, don't let them so that they should wander in the error of their hearts, and do not deliver them into the hands of their enemies, right? Their enemies. Now he has the other nations, okay? Lest they should rule over them and cause them to sin against you. Let your mercy, O Yah, be lifted up upon your people and create in them an upright spirit and not a spirit of Belial. Rule over them to accuse them before you and to ensnare them from all the cycles of righteousness so that they may perish from before your face. But they are your people and your inheritance, which you have delivered with the great power and the hand of Mizraim, or from the hand of Mizraim. Create in them a clean heart and a spirit, a Kadesh spirit, and let them not be ensnared in their sins from henceforth until eternity, right? And Yah said to Moshe, I know their contrariness and their thoughts and their stiff-neckedness, and they will not be obedient until they confess their own sins, right? And the sin of their fathers. We can find that in Leviticus 26, right? He says, if they shall confess their sins, right, and the sins of their fathers, and the uncircumcised hearts be humbled, right? Because that is the gospel, right? I did a lesson on what is the gospel. The gospel is coming in humility to the one who put us in captivity. That's coming humble, right? And seeking his face, right? To have righteousness and justice in the earth, right? For all people, right? All right. So let's read 23 again. This is chapter 1, verse 23. And Yah said to Moshe, I know their contrariness and their thoughts and their stiff-neckedness, and they will not be obedient until they confess their own sins and the sins of their fathers. 24. And after this they will turn to me in all uprightness and with their heart and with their soul, and I will circumcise the foreskin of their heart and the foreskin of the heart of their seed, right? And I will create in them a Ruach HaKodesh. I will create in them a spirit, okay? And I will cleanse them so that they shall not turn away from me from that day unto eternity. And their souls will cleave to me and all my commandments, and they will fulfill my commandments. And I will be their father, and they shall be my children, and they shall be called the children of the living Elohim. And every angel and every Ruach shall know, yes, that they shall know that these are my children, right? And that I am their father in uprightness and righteousness, and that I love them. And you do write down for yourselves all these words which I declare unto you on this mount, the first and the last which shall come to pass in all the divisions of the days of the Torah, and in the testimony of the weeks of Jubilees unto eternity, until I descend and dwell with them throughout eternity, right? And he said to the angel of the presence, okay? So now, let me just give you a little something here in this. Now we see this terminology, angel of the presence, right? Okay. What is the angel of the presence? It's the spirit of Yah. Okay. Just that simple, right? Now, the angel of the presence, right for Moshe from the beginning of creation till my sanctuary has been built among them for all eternity. And Yah will appear to the eyes of all and shall know that I am the Elohim of Yasharal and the father of the children of Yaakov and king on Mount Zion for all eternity, and Zion and Jerusalem shall be set apart, or his, right? Okay, so now, and verse 29, and the angel of the presence who went before the camp of Yasharal took the tables of the division of the years from the time of the creation of the Torah and of the testimony of the weeks of Jubilees, right? According to individual years, according to all the numbers of the Jubilees, according to their individual years, and the day of the new creation, when the new heavens and earth shall be renewed, right? Renewed. And all the creation according to the powers of heaven and according to all the creation of the earth until the sanctuary of Yahweh shall be made in Jerusalem on the Mount Zion. And all the luminaries be renewed for healing and for peace and for blessings for the elect of Yasharal, and that thus it may be from that day and until all the days of the earth. Right? See that? Okay, now, so the Most High knew that Israel was going to disobey him, and he knew that he was going to send Israel away into captivity. That was prophesied in the book of Deuteronomy. Jubilees is confirming that that the Most High knew that Israel was going to be taken into captivity, because why? They were going to break the covenant, the commandments, the laws, the statutes, commandments, the judgment that the Most High gave them to be rulers amongst the nations. Now, I admonish you to continue to read, okay, chapter 2. I'm not going to do this because this is not a verse by verse study. I wanted to give you the intro, right, so you can understand or understand what the book of Jubilees is all about. Right now, what I want to point out as I close is, let's see something here. Okay, let's go. Let's see, I want to go to chapter 6, but before I do that, let's look a little bit at something here. No, I'm not going to do that because it's going to take me where I don't want to go. What I want to do is, we know the story, Adam and Kawhi, how they were created in the garden, and then the Most High said that it's not good the man should be alone, but yet the woman was created with the man. And I believe that the woman was created in the man. That's why the Most High formed the body out of the rib and made him a help meet, because the help was in him. But I mean, you don't have to believe that if you don't want to, but that's just what my view of what happened in the creation of man and woman, because it does say in a better sheet that he made them and called their name Adam in the day they were created. Right? It was after the fall that I take that back. It was after the fall that the woman, the person that the help meet that the Most High made for Adam, he named her Isha, right? So Isha comes out of Ish. So the word for man or husband is Ish, right? The word for woman or wife is Isha, right? She came out of Ish, right? Okay. Just want to give it to you. Okay. Now, what I wanted to point out is, and it's a lot of good reading. I'm skipping through because, like I said, this is not a verse by verse, but in a later video, I'll come back and we'll deal with some stuff that's in those particular chapters. But what I want to do is, I want to show you. Let's start at verse 6. Chapter 6, right? This is after the flood, right? So we know the story in Genesis, how that the world became corrupt, and in Genesis talks about how that the men, the sons of heaven, which is the Malachim, they came down and had sex with the daughters of humankind. And at one point in time, I didn't believe that the Nephilim came down and had sex with humans, but they did. It's supported in the book of Jubilees. It's supported in the book of Jasher. It's supported in the book of Enoch. It's supported in the King James Version, but people look past it and don't see it, but it's there, right? So we're going to deal with that in another setting. But be that as it may, so in chapter 6, after the flood, this is what the Most High said, right? Okay, so on the new moon of the 3rd month, he went forth from the ark and built an altar on that mountain, right? That mountain was, I believe, the Mount Ararat, right, in Turkey. And it says, And he took the kid and made atonement by its blood for all the guilt of the earth, for everything that had been on it had been destroyed, save those that were in the ark with Noah. And he placed the fat thereof on the altar. And he took an ox and a goat and sheep and kids and salt and turtle dove and young dove, and placed a burnt sacrifice on the altar with oil, sprinkled wine, and strewed frankincense over everything, that caused a goodly savor to rise acceptable before Yah. And Yah smelled the goodly savor, and he cut a covenant with him that there should not be any more a flood to destroy the earth, and all the days of the earth, seed time and harvest time, should never cease. Cold and heat, summer, winter, day and night should not change their order, nor cease forever. And you increase, you and multiply upon the earth, and become many upon it, and be a blessing upon it. The fear of you and your dread of you will I inspire in everything that is on the earth and in the sea. And behold, I will give unto you all the beasts and all winged things and everything that moves on the earth, and the fish and the waters and all the things for food. As the green herbs I have given you all things to eat. But the flesh with the life thereof, with the blood, you shall not eat, for the life of the flesh is in the blood, lest your blood of your lives be required. At the hand of every man, at the hand of every beast, will I require the blood of man. Now, I want to interject something here right quick. We stopped at verse 8. I want to interject something here, and we didn't read that part, but if you go back and read it right, when the serpent approached the woman, right, the serpent talked, right? And I know some people say, well, the animal didn't talk. How can the animal talk now? Right? If you go back and you read that, right? And I might just go back. Let me go back there real quick. Keep your finger there on 8, right? Okay. I think it is, what is it, chapter 3? Let's see if I can find it right quick. Is it 3? Let's see. Nope, not 3. See, no, let's see, maybe it's 2. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see. So no, it's not 2. Let's see, hold on, I'm gonna find it. Okay, 3. Okay, let's see, maybe it is 3. Okay, maybe it's not 3. Let me see. Hold on. I'm getting there. Give me a second. I'm getting to it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it is 3. Okay. Okay, after verse 18, this is 3:18, right? This is for your hearing. After the completion of the 7 years, which he had completed there 7 years exactly, and the second month, on the 7th day of the month, the serpent came and approached the woman. And the serpent said to the woman, so the serpent came and approached the woman, and the serpent talked to the woman and said to the woman, have Elohim commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And she said to it, of all the fruit of the trees in the garden, Elohim have said to us, eat, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, he said, you shall not eat thereof, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die, for Elohim knows that the day that you shall eat thereof, your eyes will be opened, and you will be as Elohim, and you will know good and evil. And the woman saw that the tree was agreeable and pleasant to the eye, and the fruit was good for food. She took thereof and ate, and when she had first covered her shame with fig leaves, she gave thereof to Adam. He ate, his eyes were open, he saw that he was naked. He took fig leaves and sewed them together and made an apron for himself and covered his shame. And Elohim cursed the serpent that was wroth with it forever, and said and he was wroth with the woman because she hearkened to the voice of the serpent and did eat. He said unto her, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and your pains in sorrow you shall bring forth children, right? And your return shall be unto your man, and he will rule over you. Okay, it says the same thing in Genesis, just different words. And to Adam also he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your woman, you have eaten of the tree which I have commanded you that you should not eat thereof. Cursed be the ground for your sake. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and you shall eat of the bread of the sweat of your face till you return to the earth from which you were taken. For earth you are, and unto earth shall you return. And he made them coats of skins, right? And clothed them and sent forth from the Garden of Eden. So Adam made apron of figs, but the Most High made apron of skins, right? He offered the first sacrifice for him, right? All right, now continue. And on the day which Adam went forth from the garden, he offered as a sweet savor an offering frankincense, galbanum, and stactate, and spices in the mouth of the rise of the sun from the day when he covers his shame. And on that day was closed the mouth of all beasts, and of cattle, and of birds, and whatsoever walketh, and of whatsoever moves, so that they could no longer speak, for they all spoken one with another, with one lip and with one tongue. See that? So in before the fall, all the animals talk like Dr. Doolittle. Okay, that's where they got it from. They got it from the Book of Jubilees, right? They all talk. Okay, now going back to Jubilee 6, and I'm about to bring it to a close because I got a little competition here now. He says, whosoever sheds the blood of man, by his blood be shed. For in the image of Elohim made he man, and you increase you and multiply on the earth. And Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh. He cut a covenant before Yahweh Elohim forever throughout all the generations of the earth in this month. On this account, he spoke to you that you should cut a covenant with the children of Yasharal in this month upon the mountain with an oath, and that you should sprinkle blood upon them because of all the words of the covenant which Yahweh have made with them forever. And this testimony is written concerning you, that you should observe it continually, so that you should not eat on any day any blood of the beasts, of birds, of cattle during all the days of the earth. And that man who eats the blood of beasts or of cattle or of birds during all the days of the earth, he and his seed shall be rooted out of the land. And do you command the children of Yasharal to eat no blood, so their names and their seed may be before Yahweh Eloheinu continually. And for this Torah there is no limit of days, for it is forever. They shall observe it throughout their generations, right? So that they may continue supplanting on your behalf with blood before the altar, right? Every day and at the time of morning and evening, they shall seek forgiveness on your behalf perpetually, right? Before Yahweh, that they may guard it and not be rooted out the land. And he gave to Noah, his sons, a sign that there should not again be a flood on the earth. He set his bow in the cloud for a sign of the eternal covenant, that there should not again be a flood on the earth to destroy it all the days of the earth. For this reason, it is ordained and written on heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the feast of Shabbat. That's the feast of Pentecost on the 50th day. That they should celebrate the feast of Shabbat in the month once a year to renew the covenant every year. And that whole feast was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation till the days of Noah, 26 jubilees and 5 weeks of years. And Noah, his sons, observed it for 7 jubilees and 1 week of years until the day of Noah's death, right? And from the day of Noah's death, his sons did away with it until the days of Abraham. And they ate blood, right? They ate blood. They did away with the feast. They ate blood. But Abraham observed it, Yitzhak and Yaakov and his children observed it up to your days. And in your days, the children of Yasharal forgot it until you celebrated it anew in this mountain. So, what are you saying, brother? I'm saying that the Most High, the feast, which we just read, it didn't start with the nation of Israel. The feast was kept from the days of creation, right? The Shabbat began on the first day, the seventh day, I should say. Not the first day, let's get it correct. The seventh day, right? And at creation, the Most High ordained the feast to be kept, right? And we just read that all the sons of Adam was given these feasts, right? Let's read it again. He says, the whole feast was celebrated in heaven. This is verse 18. From the day of creation until the days of Noah. See that? So the whole feast was celebrated in heaven, right? Didn't say on earth, in heaven. They were celebrating the feast days in heaven, where the Most High dwells. They were celebrating the feast in heaven from the day of creation until the day of Noah, 26 jubilees and 5 weeks of years. Let's read it again. The whole feast was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation until the days of Noah, 26 jubilees and 5 weeks of years. And Noah and his sons picked it up. See that? So the Most High was celebrating the feast days while the creation that he was trying to get into the feast days, they didn't keep the feast, right? They kept the deities that they made, right? And we'll come back in another lesson and we'll deal with that. But so then until the days of Noah, when Noah came on the scene, then Noah found, and we can read that too, I believe it's in his Jubilees, where the Most High taught him the things of, I think it was, I don't want to misrepresent it, but just say it this way. Noah was taught how to observe the feasts and different things that was done in heaven. Okay. So from that point forward, it said Noah and his sons observed it for 7 jubilees and 1 week of years until the day of Noah's death. So when Noah died, all of the creation stopped celebrating the feast days, right? Until Abraham came on the scene. When Abraham came on the scene, then they went back into keeping the feast days, right? In the days of Abraham, right? So it says here, so they kept it until the day of Noah's death, and from the day of Noah's death, his sons did away with it until the days of Abraham. So from Noah to Abraham, they did away with all the feasts. They did away with all the laws. They did away with everything that the Most High gave them to follow. And they followed after their own hearts, after their own wicked imaginations, right? Until the time of Abraham. And it said they ate blood. And we still got people eating blood today, calling it medium rare. But the Most High said don't eat blood, right? So you don't eat blood in any form, whether it's medium rare or whether it's rare. It's blood. The Most High said don't eat it. He told not just to the nation of Israel, he told that to his creation not to eat blood. All right. Verse 19, but Abraham observed it, and Yitzhak and Yaakov and his children observed it up to your days. And in your days, the children of Yasharal forgot it until you celebrated in the mountain. So after Abraham, right, his sons kept it. When Israel went into Egypt captivity, they lost the feast days, right? They lost it. You know, it was beat out of them, right? So now, same scenario, when Israel kept the feast days in Jerusalem, Yasharal, or Jerusalem. When they went into captivity, the Messiah said in Luke chapter 21, I think it is. He said, they shall be led captive into all nations, and Jerusalem will be trodden down by the Gentiles, right? So when Israel and Yasharal went into captivity after 70 AD, nobody kept the feast days, right? Now, what's happening now? We're keeping those feast days, right? Why? Because the Most High said, he said it in the book of Jubilees, we read it already, that they were going to return back in their enemies' lands to this covenant. And that's what's happening. That's why you're seeing so-called African Americans, Negroes, or black people is leaving out of their religious belief systems and returning back into the covenant of our fathers, the covenant of creation. And that's all I got for now. So prayerfully you got something out of this. And until next time, may the blessing of the Most High Yah be with you and family. Shalom, shalom, shalom.